Welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Thank you for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like and comment on the videos. I hope you enjoy the show. Now, let's go. Hello, Billy Ho here. We are now already into week 3 of the NFL season, and I'm sure you're going to hear it. Man, it's going by fast, isn't it, everybody? Well, duh. It always goes fast when you're having fun. And week 2 was a good week for me on DFS. I lost my home league, but I did manage to little over double 2x profit. So I got back basically what I lost week 1 and then some. So I'm technically NFL season in the black, but that's all good. We need to, carry that momentum into week 3, don't we? So before we get started, I wanted to welcome everybody to Billy Ho Sports. I am an experienced DFS player. I've been doing this probably almost going on 6 years now. Started with PGA, NFL. So this year I decided to do my own content because I felt I was knowledgeable enough to pass along what I know to maybe some less experienced players. So I really hope you get something out of these videos. If you have not already, I ask you just one thing is to subscribe to the channel. If you want to give like to the video, you want to leave comments, those are great. I'll look at them. I'll answer them. If you got questions, everything. I run contests for both PGA and NFL. So if you want to get into those contests, all you got to do is join once, click the link in the description, and you're in the league for life. So, the subscriptions will help me reach a point to where I can create even better content for you, better production value and all that aesthetic kind of stuff. So help me out there. It doesn't cost you a dime, but it does have value to me. Now, this is going to be an early look at some of the best game stacks for week 3. Main slate Sunday. It is a 13-game slate. 9 1 p.m. games, 4 p.m., 4:25 games, afternoon slate. And that's typically how it runs from week to week. Sometimes they'll have one or two more. Like this last week, week 2, they had one less because they had an extra Monday night game. So the first part of my strategy is always to look to the point spreads and the totals for the week, because there's where you're going to start finding your game stacks. You're going to want to look at those highest total games and the teams with the highest implied totals. That's pretty obvious, right? Well, all right. Well, let's look at some games then. All right. And we are back on the Fantasy Labs website. And this is free, fantasylabs.com/NFL/Vegas. And this gives you just the implied open, and it's helpful because it gives you the open and the live, and so you can kind of see where it started at and where it is now, so you can see where the money's going, the green, and you can see the percentages of where the money's going. So that's always helpful. So after reviewing these totals, I have come up with 6 games to discuss with you today. And they're probably going to be the ones you notice too, because basically the first thing I do is I zip down through here and see where the monster totals are. And there's a couple of monster totals, 53.5. I round up a lot of times in those cases. But after looking at this big board here, I have 6 stacks, like I said. And the first one, I think I'll lead off with the most popular one, and you probably already know that, is Buffalo at Miami, total of 54. You can bet this game is probably going to be the most popular game on the slate. We just saw Josh Allen in prime time for the second week in a row rip through whatever defense he's playing. The man is on a mission this year. He seems so dialed in. They were missing Gabe Davis, their number 2 wideout. It didn't matter. It was just like all those targets shuffled over to Stephon Diggs. So then you want to keep an eye. That's the first thing you're going to want to keep an eye on is the injury status of Gabe Davis. Because if we just highlight this Buffalo Miami game, and you can see he's 6,300, which is quite expensive. But if you also watch Sunday afternoon, Tua Tags, as I like to call him, uh, absolutely tore it up. Came from behind in a big way. Hit. I mean, it was just like I don't know, Madden / Tecmo bullshit. Tyreek Hill and Waddle. Tyreek got loose twice. I thought he would, but it just looked like they weren't even guarding him, like they had gone into this prevent defense and he got behind them. I don't know exactly how they let that happen, but 2-3 plays like that later, and they came back tied and won the game in overtime. So you can start your stack with Tua if you want. I don't know. Buffalo, their defense is pretty stout. Tua is only 6,100. Of course, you can always pay the freight and go up to Josh Allen. They're at Miami. Miami's defense, well, I mean, Baltimore just lit them up for 35 points. So they're not the juggernaut that you think they are, but they are quite an aggressive defense and can get to the quarterback. But when you got somebody that's elusive like Lamar, and I actually discussed that in my show last week, that I thought Lamar would take off and run more. And obviously he ripped them for that big, like 75, 80-yard touchdown run, went over 100 yards, broke the slate. It was crazy. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I also had Tua in that same game stack. And Tua is such an easy game stack because it's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But I don't know if you could pay the freight on that now because they're both 76 and 6,800, and Tua is 6,100. That is a tall order. So, this one might come down to a mini stack where you choose an and or of Hill or Waddle, and you make 2 lineups. You take one Hill and one Waddle, and then you split it with maybe a McKenzie who got some targets. Well, not as many as I thought, but one of these guys, it was just all Diggs. You really kind of hope to find one of these diamonds in the rough. But if Gabe Davis comes back 6,300, that's still kind of steep. So this is a very expensive game for good reason. I appreciate DraftKings pricing this week, actually. So turning that up. So nice job there. But there are a lot of options, and it might just come down to a mini stack or things of that nature. I don't think you want any of the running backs. They just haven't proven themselves to be worth anything yet. Maybe Mostert. Mostert might be interesting. I'm sure he's down here pretty cheap because he's starting to get more carries. So he might be a one-off guy for you. I'm not going to get into that too much. The next game I wanted to discuss is going to be this Kansas City Indianapolis game. And Mahomes is obviously the only quarterback you're going to here. Matt Ryan is just, I don't know. That might be super sneaky. I don't know. He's been so bad, but he threw it 50 times against Houston. That's terrible. Throw the ball 50 times and you barely scrape 20 points out of it. But they are at home. They're finally going to have a home game, and it is against the Kansas City team that you can score on. So that's a tall order. Nobody's going to play Matt Ryan. The only reason I would even consider Matt Ryan is if Pittman's back. If Pittman's back this week, then I might mildly consider it because you got some guys on the other side to run back, Valdez Scantling and Smith Schuster. Now, if say Pittman is out again, or really just Alec Pierce, uh, honestly, I love this little dueling play. They did jack him up to 3,900, but he got 7 targets in that game, 79 yards. So he did pretty well for me. I had a little piece of him. But of course, the number one run back, I should say, is the running back, Jonathan Taylor. He's going to have the friendly confines of the home, and he was just completely scripted out. I really didn't see that coming, but evidently, Indianapolis has a really bad time with Jacksonville at Jacksonville. I think they've lost the last 4 times on the road at Jacksonville, something like that. So keep that in mind. Sometimes these divisional opponents are just, they see each other twice a year. Maybe, I don't know. But Indianapolis has not looked good. But Taylor at 9K, that's a big discount off of what he was last week. So he's in consideration. Uh, and I think Indy probably better not be getting behind too early again, because that will hurt Taylor, obviously. I didn't see what Naeem Hines did, but he got some action. So he had 4 for 37. He might be a sneaky kind of play at 5K. If you think that Kansas City is going to bum rush him again. So if you tell yourself the story that Kansas City is going to run that, then Hines would be the play. He'd be the perfect run back option in that high, or Doolin or Pittman. So that's that's a mini stack game in my opinion. I don't think that I'll go full on game stack with Mahomes, but we'll see sometimes value opens up, so we'll see later on in the week. Next game I wanted to discuss was the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to the Washington Redskins. And we all saw Jalen Hurts last night. He was so good. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he's all right. I mean, 26 of 31, that's an awesome percentage for in week 1. But he was 18 of 32 last week. That's not so good. That's more Jalen Hurts. I don't know. Minnesota just you know, I don't know what their defense. They're built. Minnesota and Kirk Cousins is not built for prime time. If you followed football for the last few years since Cousins has been at Minnesota, then you know. Now this is an interesting game to me because I don't think it's going to be that popular. Uh, I don't see Hurts getting 2 rushing touchdowns again. It could be more guys like Gainwell and Sanders. I have a feeling Sanders is due 5,500. They don't raise his price. I don't. Yeah, same price tag, and he got 17 carries in that game for 80 yards, and he did catch 3 passes for nothing, but at least he caught 3 passes. That's say he gets loose for a little bit, that could have been 6 points altogether. But so 11, double digits wouldn't kill you here, but you throw in a touchdown and you're in good shape. I think he tears one off sooner or later. The guy's got breakaway talent. So somebody like McKissick, 7 for 7, that's pretty good. That's not a bad low key play at 5,300. But why would you play a 5,300 guy who's only involved in the passing game when you could get Sanders at 55? This could be, you could go either way on this. You could go back to Wentz. Wentz is up to 6,300, which is 200 more than 200 more than Tua, which is crazy. So people probably won't look to Wentz again. Plus, he turns the ball over, and the price is starting to go up for his other guys, Samuel and Dotson. Samuel's still 5,100. I'll play him in the mini stack all day. So I would definitely do him, maybe an AJ Brown mini stack, or a run back with That would be cheap right there if you think it went this way, and people are going to play Hurts. So if you think it goes another way, then you can run this Wentz Samuel, and if you want a double stack, as long as they keep putting Logan Thomas in the mid threes, I'm playing him. So there's your double stack with your run back right there, and you don't have to spend up on anybody. And you can get, pay down and you can get pieces of the more expensive games. So I kind of like that idea right there. Next up, I do believe we are going to go Jacksonville. This is an interesting game, too. Jacksonville and the Chargers. Now, we don't know the full status of Herbert, but things look encouraging. And I think, it's really pain tolerance. So, he's going to just get a shot and put an extra flak jacket on, and he's going to trot out there. That's my opinion. But Trevor Lawrence, still 5,400. I don't think that's $100 price hike. And I know he only scored 18 and a half DraftKings points, but they got up so early in that game, he only threw it 30 times. This game is going to be a little more of a shootout, especially if Herbert plays. I think you could see the more on the line along the lines of a split between these two. Like you're going to see him throw for 275 and maybe 2 touchdowns, and he still has yet to take off. So I don't know if that's an encouraging sign for his offensive line, but the obvious lock button pairing is Kirk, another 6 targets, so efficient. I mean, that was actually probably Trevor Lawrence's most efficient game as a quarterback. So I like that. So we'll see what a small stack could look like. You're paying down once again, and Kirk, he's just not going to get the respect some of these other guys have. So you're going to get him cheap. And now this way, if Herbert plays and Keenan Allen's out, I'm probably going to click Mike Williams. But you also have the option of going Gerald Everett at 4,400, who seems to be getting a lot of targets. He got 10 targets in that game. Now, if you get this, then you're screwed. But like I said, if Keenan Allen is out, there's your guy right there. So run back with him. Eckler, it's tough to say. So he's gotten the touches, and he obviously got a massive amount of passing game work, and that might have been due to the rib injury affecting Herbert, because maybe he was just chucking him out there and just dumping him off because that rib kind of hurt. I don't know. I digress. But that's a good game to start. That's probably a mini stack game with Kirk and or Mike Williams, Eckler, or you can go Everett. The next game, moving along, is going to be the Rams in Arizona. And this is probably one of my favorite games. The last two, I saved the 2 for last. So if you still hanging in there with me, Cardinals defensive team seems to be a bit of a sieve. So I like the chances for Stafford. See, Murray is, Stafford's a hard one to nail down because if he ain't throwing for 300 yards and multiple touchdowns, he's worthless. So tough call there. You know who his run back's going to be with Cooper Kupp. Robinson did get more involved in the offense this week, but 5,700, if you think maybe he gets a few more targets, I don't know that he's going to see a 100-yard game, though, just with the amount of work he's getting. Higbee might be a possibility. He got 9 targets. We'll have to see. Van Jefferson, I don't know when he's coming back. He'd be in the mix. So this one has a 49 total. And like I said, they could probably throw all over this Cardinals defense. So I don't know. Does anybody feel like fading Cooper Kupp again? Because I don't think I can do it again, because he is just going to just drop double-digit catches, 100 yards, and 1 to 2 touchdowns, probably, depending on which way you go. Maybe they get more people involved. I don't know, but that's just it's hard to lay off of him, and 9,900 is high dollar. So good luck with that. But the good news is I think you might have a cheaper run back if you go say we'll do this Stafford and just Cup, not even a double stack, but we run it back with one of these two guys here. And I think I want to say Eno Benjamin. I don't know who the third down back would be, but he's 4,700 and that's dirt cheap. So if you can get away with that, I mean he's been involved in both games. So, and they both were fairly decent blowouts. I think they're chasing again. If you like Eno Benjamin, lock him in. That's tough call to take one of your running backs. But if you can get 4,700 for say he 2X's, you're gravy. And the next thing I want to, well, Daryl Williams, I always liked him, and he's a good cheap play at 5,100. They seem to be splitting down the middle, so that's only if Connor is out. But that's a cheap game stack. I mean, it does give you after you get a defense and a tight end in there, you're gonna raise that salary back up to about 6K. So, you go a cheap wide receiver like a Doolin or somebody like that, and then you're right back in business with the salaries. So I don't mind that at all. But this is probably the game for me. Detroit, Minnesota, another high total, 54, which is kind of crazy. But you got I think actually what might be a sneaky one, either one of these guys, I don't think get play, but Jared Goff is almost a full $1,000 cheaper than Kirk Cousins. And are they really that much different at quarterback at skill set wise? I don't know. Maybe slightly edge to Cousins, but Goff can still sling it around. I mean, so we say we start 5,800 Goff, and then you have to have ASB St. Brown, and then what you could do is run it back with Dalvin Cook, and then you have your single stack right there. Also, you still have Chark, and I want to say Reynolds got more involved. 3 targets, 4,500. He did score a touchdown, but that's a tough call there. KJ Osborne got a little bit more involved, but not much. So, it's going to be Jefferson. But what I did want to say is if you wanted to do the double stack and you wanted to get away from Jefferson and say you want to pay up for Cup, because you can't have both. So, say you want to pay up for Cup, boom. Because I think this is one of them home games. Adam Thielen, 2-touchdown home game. I think the guy can catch. He got more involved in the offense. 7 targets. I think he could get more like probably the same, 7 to 9 targets, but 2 of these are going to be touchdowns. So, or say he catches 6 balls for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sounds good to me. That's going to hike him right up to about 18 DraftKings points, which is 3X. So that would get her done. Or you can, and Dalvin Cook is due. I mean, he's obviously got scripted out, but he did remain in the passing game some. He was just terrible. They did say that they were passing more. So, man, Dalvin Cook, good luck to who drafted him. That's tough sledding. But Jefferson had another 12 targets last night, so you can obviously use Jefferson, who's a lock button, if you want to get away. I say it's either Cup or Jefferson. You have to have one of those two guys in your lineup this week. I just feel like that's what you need to do. So Irv Smith is also kind of a low-key tight end. He's 3,100. So if you didn't want to play Thomas, you could throw Irv Smith in there and pay down for that. Either way, that might get you up to Jefferson. if you didn't want to go, if you don't trust Dalvin Cook. So that gives you some good game stacks, I think. And I want to thank you for watching. That's going to do it for the Game Stack show this week. The next show is going to be one of the positionals, and I'm probably going to combine low key and lock button kind of plays, and give you a little bit of everything in this week's videos. So we got quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. So you're going to see one of those coming up next. And so don't forget to sub to the channel and join my DraftKings contests for both PGA and NFL. They'll be in the description, or I'll just post it as a comment, but you'll be able to find them really easily. And so until next time, like I said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.